Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Jayne Sam. This is a channel where we discuss issues pertaining to our environment, and simply because I am an ambassador of environmental conservation and preservation, I have a lot of interest when it comes to the way we deal with our environment. It is very core to our lives. And that's why I decided that once in a while, we should be talking about how we can preserve our environment. If you are new here in this channel, kindly subscribe, share and like, so that the people of like minds can share about preservation and conservation of our environment. Dear friends, how many times do we ponder on how we really depend on our environment for survival? Not only us as human beings, but also every living creature. In Kenya, we know that we depend highly on tourism, and one of the greatest things that people come from all over the world to come and see are most of the wildlife that we have in this country. God has given us a country where we have a variety of animals and, the big five, and even the migration of the wild beasts, and many features that God has given us, that many people spend a lot of money to come to Kenya. And indeed, we are able to get some good economic impact from those tourists. But how many times do we think about how we are treating this environment? And have we ever thought as to whether this environment can also respond to us on how we are treating it? I just want us to get that awareness that the environment that we live in is like Mother Nature. It feeds us. We replenish ourselves from this environment. But how many times do we ever think about giving back to this environment? How many times are we careful to use our environment in such a manner that it is not going to degenerate to an extent that it is going to kick back on us? Do we ever feel like we have a responsibility? Do you, as an individual, think of ways you can preserve this environment? In these videos, I want us to be talking. You can share, you can comment on how you think you can preserve your environment. Recently, I read an article that was quite sad. It was in a newspaper, and the research was that we are using our environment at a higher rate than how our environment is able to regenerate itself. How sad. How sad this is going to be, and especially for the generations to come. When it comes to the use of our environment, the principle is that this is intergenerational, meaning that we are supposed to use our environment for this generation and for the benefit of the generations to come after us. But how many times do we think about it? How many times do we just do things without caring the effect that our activities or our inactivities, commissions or omissions, are going to have on our environment. Remember the air we breathe, where we walk around, where we farm, where our water flows, where our animals feed, etc., etc. They all depend on the environment that surrounds such kind of activities. God has given us the power to use the environment for our good. But remember, we are supposed to be good custodians of what God has given us. That is why I have decided that I'll be coming up with some ways of how each one of us can play a part in preserving and conserving this environment. For example, if you are a farmer, do you go out of your way to know ways in which you can preserve and conserve that soil as you gain from the ground? And know that even tomorrow and the generations to come will need to use the same land to plant their crops. I'm not going to be complicated. Ours is just to be discussing simple ways, even when you are living in the city. Even living in an apartment saying, I am not touching the ground. But there are many ways in which you can play your part in preserving and conserving this environment. Kindly share, kindly subscribe, and kindly like as we continue this journey. And I want our mites to have a turnaround and know that every step that you take as an individual and the other person on the other side takes their part, it is going to meet somewhere and make a great impact in the preservation of our environment. Till we meet again, let's share, let's prescribe, and let's like. Bye-bye.